After that episode, it was so tense that, like, your boy be licking his lips. Your boy be licking his lips a lot because I'm getting nervous and stressed. So, let's do it. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I'm just going to get right to it. Euphoria Season 2, Episode 2, Sam Levinson delivering the meat and potatoes, the filet mignon. Now, with this episode, I don't think there's anything quite as good or nothing quite as visceral as the moment where Fez just beats the crap out of Nate. There's not a moment like that that's so out of nowhere and unexpected. But this is classic Euphoria. In my opinion, this has basically everything you would go to Euphoria to expect. And this one does a much better job at balancing all of the characters. So it opens up with Nate's bloody face from the ending confrontation of the last episode, and I was wondering with this episode if we're going to keep getting the intros like we would get in Season 1, and we even got one last episode with Fezco and Ashtray, but that's not the case. It seems like it's more going to be exploring the mind of whatever character that they just decide to do, and in this one, we got more Nate. We basically got Nate's mental state at this time. They kind of tried to make Nate empathetic in a way through the whole like, oh, well, it's Nate's dad. He's the reason he's like this. He messed him up. And while that's probably the case, Nate still willingly chose to assault Maddie multiple times. And like, I don't think brushing it off like, oh, well, his dad messed him up, that's not necessarily a good excuse. Nate is not a character I find sympathetic, empathetic, any pathetic, except pathetic itself. That was a bar.
These bars!
I did find it kind of interesting how they were trying to justify his fascination with Cassie and how she contrasts the personality of Maddie. That was at least trying to explain why he would be interested in Cassie, but I'm really feeling like it's still lacking in the whole department of why Cassie would want to get with Nate, because there isn't really any excuse or anything I can see as to why she would want to be in a relationship with him, because she knows he's abusive. She knows his track record pretty well. Like, what are you doing, Cassie? I did find it kind of interesting that in the midst of his whole fantasy kind of out-of-body experience where he's fantasizing about his life with Cassie, he still had flashed images of Jules in there, which was a nice touch because it's showing that he still has a part of him that misses that connection. And even though what he did in Season 1 was completely evil, he was genuinely emotionally attached to Jules in a way. So while I don't like the character, he's a piece of shit. He's layered. There are a lot of layers to this character, and that makes him interesting even though he's a complete jackass. And of course, it wouldn't be Euphoria without nudity in the first 2 minutes. I mean, we have sex scenes, we have Nate's dad eating ass, there's a lot going on in just a few minutes. But then we get the beautiful shot, the shot I've been waiting all year to see in the show. The shot of Rue and Jules in the hallway where it just kind of focuses on one of them and then it focuses on the other. Oh my God. That is such a good shot. Then we kind of see the love triangle. Yeah, that's a triangle. This triangle is starting to form between Rue, Jules, and Elliot. And what's kind of interesting about this is that it's not really a love triangle, at least not yet. But it's more so just Rue wanting to hide her whole relapse and constant use of drugs from her, which is really shitty, is really dangerous to do. It's a complete lack of trust in regard to that relationship. But at least it's more than just stereotypical love triangle. It's more of a love triangle between Rue, Jules, and her drug habit. And I said I liked the Elliot character in the first episode, but this time I'm not so sure because he's really enabling Rue. He's knowingly enabling her and even saying like, maybe it's a bad thing we met. And of course she's gonna say that it's not because she likes to keep doing drugs, that she's an addict. That's kind of what she does. And he doesn't do anything to shut it down. So that's disappointing and makes me not like this character. character. And then Jules breaks down crying and goes to the bathroom after Elliot shows up. And I can understand this to an extent, especially after what Rue and Jules went through emotionally when they were apart, and to see some kind of force possibly getting in the way would be really terrifying. But at the same time, it kind of signals some really dangerous attachment issues, which they already kind of had in that first season, especially with Rue's reliance on Jules. It's looking like it's kind of becoming the inverse. And yeah, it's jealousy to an extent, but it's also just this fear of losing her. And that sucks. We also get a lot of Maddie moments in this, and I love Maddie as a character. She's just iconic. But there's this really great moment where she's babysitting for this really wealthy family. She's trying on all their clothes, and then the parents come home, but then she has to like quickly get out of there. But then there's the tense moment where she has to come back and unzip the dress for the mother. And that was a pretty tense but a fun moment, and one of many tense moments in this episode. There is a lot of intensity. Another thing about Maddie that was so funny to me is just how much of a threat she's becoming, and how Nate is even like, yeah, Cassie, she's gonna kill you. She will literally kill you. Then there's that awesome montage of her harassing all these people, like shoving someone's head into the wall, and it's just iconic, for lack of a better term. It's so iconic. As far as Kat and Ethan goes, it's mainly Kat, because Ethan doesn't really have anything to do. He's just kind of there to say I love you twice, and that's about it. And they even show in the bowling scene, he's just in the shadows, all sad looking. And I really like the exploration into Kat's personality and how she's very insecure, and there's the whole moment of her saying how she's hating herself, and how these self-help influencers are just making her feel worse, if anything. And I actually really like that commentary, because it's so easy for people to say, oh no, just like better yourself, you know, just it's so easy. Like someone who doesn't have depression or someone who doesn't deal with those things, no one can really know how you're feeling in that way, especially when some self-help accounts or social media personas will make it seem so easy when it's really not. And I really like how Kat would use these characters that she created in her head, or maybe they were personas that she watched online, I'm not really sure, that would be in the room with her talking to her. And I really liked the sex scene with that one medieval dude, or the, you know, like the Conan the Barbarian looking guy. And of course it's Sam Levinson, so we see his long wee-wee. Something I loved. Did I say loved? Something I loved. Lexi. Oh my god. Lexi is getting all these moments to shine, and it's just so great to see, especially because she didn't have a lot to do in season 1. This whole exploration as far as her being really passive, and how the one time she wasn't passive when she kind of threatened Rue, as far as like, yeah, I'll probably tell your mom because this is really dangerous that you're overdosing. But then she doesn't, which kind of indirectly results in Rue's overdose, and just how traumatizing that would be to someone. I love that exploration. I just love this character. She's just so innocent and sweet. And if they kill her off, which I could totally see happening, that would just piss me off. That would just make me angry. Something else about Lexi that made me laugh out loud, it was just so perfect. Lexi's a Gex fan. Like she was listening to some Laura Les. Like, God bless. You know, of all characters to be a Gex fan in this whole series, Lexi is the obvious choice. And I really like the scene with Fezco and Lexi at the gas station, because it was really sweet at first with the awkwardness, but it's kind of like the inverse Sour Patch Kids, because that scene started out really sweet, and then it got sour as hell when Cal Jacobs showed up, because it got so tense, and I was just terrified. Of course, nothing happened because it's only episode 2. I don't think they're going to kill anyone off this early. I mean, maybe they won't even do that at all. But yeah, I really like this scene, and they did bait the audience with the whole Cal Jacobs reaching in his pocket, which looked like it was going to be a gun. Ended up just being money. So, but that scene was so tense, and they made you wonder, like, are they gonna do this now? Is this how it's gonna happen? And then there's the final stinger of the episode with Nate and Cal Jacobs talking about basically everything with this whole Nate situation, and how there's footage of Cal Jacobs and Jules out there. Someone has the DVD, and they're screwed. They're screwed. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen next? It's getting really intense and I don't really know where it's going to go. I mean, the Jacobs family is very powerful and they could do a lot with that. I could see them organizing something to go against Fezco to somehow either rat him out again or to have him assassinated, which sounds kind of crazy in concept, but the Jacobs family doesn't mess around, man. And the whole situation with Jules and Cal, I don't really know what's gonna happen. Are they gonna blackmail Jules and Rue? Because Nate brought up Rue as someone involved in the whole thing, so that's gonna cause some controversy. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for these characters, man. So at the end of the day, is this episode quite as shocking as that first episode with that big moment? Like, oh my God, what the hell? No, it's not like that. But to me, it's definitely classic Euphoria because there's enough time given to each of the characters this time, except maybe Ethan, but I don't think we're gonna get a lot of Ethan this season. The only things I'm kind of conflicted on so far this season is Cassie and Nate. I'm still kind of conflicted about that relationship, especially Cassie's motivation. It's something I'm very much struggling with. And then also the relationship between Elliot and Rue, because I understand why Rue is attached to him, but I feel like Elliot just being okay with it and not really questioning it that much just makes it all the more problematic and makes him more unlikable. So there are things I'm not really crazy about, but as a whole, still very much Euphoria. The visuals, of course, are there. They're beautiful colors because Sam Levinson cannot go a day in his life without lighting a room with red or blue. The visuals are amazing. The characters are great. The writing is strong. And I didn't even mention Rue and Ali are back, which is a dynamic that worked so well in the first season in that special episode. There's just so much to love. Even if there are a few things that I'm not as crazy about, I still am in love with pretty much everything about this show. That's pretty much all I have to say. How are you feeling about the show? Are you liking it? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Comment below. Let me know how you're feeling. I'll probably get back to you. Maybe. We'll see. Nav.
They said that they were with it, but it's cap.
Thanks for watching again. Typical YouTuber shit. Like, comment, subscribe, all that goodness. And I'll see you next week. Happy Euphoria, everyone. Take care.
A, B, C, D, E, F, U.